You bad, naughty, evil landlord, you. Like every other media outlet, we're into landlord bashing, but social landlord bashing. Because the social landlord industry is up to no good. So much no good that Michael Gove, our good friend, has fined one social landlord £140,000 for misdemeanours. What's this all about, Andrew?
Well, Ranjan, what a fantastic thing. Here we have the second largest social landlord in the UK, and they have committed nearly 1,000 breaches of different housing acts. They've been accused of disrespecting their tenants, treating them abusively, encouraging cockroaches, encouraging mould in the properties, not doing repairs and maintenance, and they're now committed to spend £1 billion bringing their properties up to date to the same standards we operate ours at.
Now this is very, very strange because of course social landlords and councils are actually exempt from some of the housing standards legislation that private landlords are subject to. But they're falling foul here of the legislation they are subject to.
Absolutely, yeah. And thankfully there is a body called the Social Housing Review Panel, and what they are is responsible for auditing, not that I'm suggesting they're missing out on their job, but Rochdale Council's recently been fined, so's Camden. We'll talk about them at the end of this video. But Ranjan, what do you make of it? I mean, tell me, our good friend Shelter, surely our good friend Shelter must have had something to say about this.
Oh, Shelter. I mean, we'll have this on the screen here from The Guardian, this quote, and this is a classic, really. So, Shelter Housing, who is a so-called charity, regularly bashes any private landlord for doing anything, quite frankly, and a lot of the time unjustifiably so. Most of the time unjustifiably so. But anyway, this is what Shelter Housing said about this crisis. The level of social housing grants only cover a small percentage of the cost of building a social home. Providers must make up the shortfall with their own funds. They borrow against future rental income, money otherwise earmarked for maintenance, and are forced to cross-subsidise. I mean, my heart bleeds for social landlords, you know. And meanwhile, Michael Gove has some robust language to say. He's saying that he's deeply shocked and disappointed to discover that social landlords are failing their residents. He calls it unacceptable and has caused these residents prolonged periods of distress. But of course, none of what Shelter's logic it can apply to private sector landlords, can it?
It certainly doesn't apply. I mean, I'm perplexed as to how they have to cross-subsidise and pay interest, taking future earnings from maintenance. It's nonsensical. It's absolutely nonsensical.
It's absolute gobbledygook. And I think this actually stems to the fact that social housing isn't a true market in the UK. If you are a benefit of social housing, then it is quite difficult for you to exercise your right in a free market to move. Because if you actually want to move, you have to find someone to provide you with social housing, and then you have to basically reapply for your benefit at that new address. And that is a massive palaver. In the private rented sector, if you don't like your property, if you aren't getting the service that you expect, if your property isn't the standard that you expect, you simply move.
Absolutely. Well, what got me, and I was perplexed. I mean, the senior management team, the chief executive and senior management team of L&Q have personally gone out and said sorry to over 500 homeowners that they have failed them. I think they'd rather that you just fix the houses. If you fix the houses and provided a decent standard of accommodation like we give in the private sector, then you wouldn't have to go on bended knee apologising to people.
Now, coming up, we've got a massive case of injustice. One rule for them, one rule for us, which we'll be revealing to you very, very shortly. If you're new to this channel, if you haven't already done so, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. We'll keep you up to date when we post new videos. We post plenty of videos to keep you on top of your property investing game. Comment, tell us what you think of this social injustice that's really inflicted on us in the private rented sector. If you want to see more of Andrew and I, you can do so at the Baker Street Property Meet. We host the largest property networking event in the UK. Some 300 people come to our monthly meets each and every month. Now, we have actually made available to you 2 special videos which we recorded at a previous Baker Street Property Meet, where we set out the scene for the next few years. There's a talk from Andrew where he sets out how the property market is going to play out over the next 2 to 3 years, and there's a talk from me which gives you 7 key steps to profit from these changing market dynamics. These 2 videos, there's more than an hour of videos there, are normally available to our Baker Street VIP members only. We're making them available free for a limited period only to you guys. You can get them by registering on this link below, so do so, take some notes. There's plenty of special content in there. Now, this is going to shock you. Andrew.
Camden Council fined a landlord £50,000 for breaches of fire regulations. Now, I totally agree. You should not breach fire regulations. You should look after people. I want to go to bed at night, sleep, knowing that everybody who occupies a property I have is safe. So I do agree with them. However, how much did Camden Council get fined for the same breach? It was £500,000, but it wasn't in one property. It was pretty much across most of their estate. Camden Council, wake up! Do your bloody maintenance!
So the issue here is there's a massive disparity in justice, really, the way justice is served. Camden Council on their own estate gets investigated only after a fatal fire in one of their houses, where private landlords are just arbitrarily inspected and caught out on very, very minor breaches that do need to be fixed. Of course they need to be fixed, but a fine is dished out simply as a revenue generating vehicle by local authorities. So there's a massive disparity between how social housing landlords are being treated by regulation and private sector landlords.
So there's a little bit of injustice going on here. A landlord had some faulty fire doors. Yes, I don't believe he should have had them. They should have been fixed. He had some broken tiles in the kitchen, and apparently his hob was not working properly, all of which should have been repaired. But he achieved a £50,000 fine for that. Camden Council, on the other hand, managed to unfortunately kill a member of the public, have 9,000 properties with problems of fire risk, which should have been dealt with within 10 days, and 500 of them are classed as seriously high risk. Now, I don't know about you, councils that run blocks, we've seen it before, you need to take action with a sense of urgency. So get out there and fix your properties. Fix them now.
And here's the problem, you see, people like Camden Council, they're the ones charged with policing and enforcing things on private rented sector, private landlords, and fining. And of course they keep a proportion of the fines that they generate. But who is policing Camden Council, the local authorities, and the social housing landlords? You know, they've got people like Shelter on their sides, but no one's policing what these guys are doing. What we really need is independent policing of regulations of both social and private landlords who are judged on the same level playing field. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think about this issue. That's it for us for this episode of Property Breaking News. See you guys next time. The Baker Street Property Meet is the UK's largest and #1 property investors networking event. The property market is going through monumental change right now, and at Baker Street Property Meet we aim to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks and insider tactics to help you keep on top of your property investing game and succeed in these troubled economic times. The Baker Street Property Meet is fundamentally about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And at Baker Street we aim to connect you with the people to make your property journey a monumental success. There's no better place to be to further your property investment journey than the Baker Street Property Meet. So make sure you're here, you're connecting with myself and Andrew Roberts, our expert guest speakers, and 300 passionate property people each and every month. See you at the next meet. Get your spot at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com.